بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الهزن إذا شئت سهلا. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. أسأل الله تبارك وتعالى أن يجعل نياتنا خالصة لوجهه الكريم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. And wa alaikum salam to all of those who greeted me. Always after the Black Imams Roundtable, I have reflections, like things that I guess they can call me my scattered thoughts post Black Imam Roundtable reflections. A lot of things stick in my mind when I review the Black Imams Roundtable, and the thoughts that come to me are many. And last night's show or edition or whatever you want to call it was one that really, I think, is probably the most important subjects religiously in our context that we can address. And to me, for me, it is something I've been trying to get across in our communities, to our people, for the last 30 years. That's a long time, man. And still to this day, that is the methodology of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah is not clear among our people. And while that thought can be sometimes disheartening, what you learn from that also is that there's so much more work that needs to be done. And something that I thought about yesterday, that we got to get beyond names. It seems like for some odd reason, we get stuck on names and personalities. And we don't understand meanings, methodologies, and concepts, right? And because of that, is my personal belief, we keep repeating the same things because we never got the meaning or the concept or the methodology. We got focused on names and groups and people. And that has hurt us because the same concepts, the same meanings, the same methodologies keep coming to us with different organizations, different names, and different concepts. You would think that we wouldn't still be hoodwinked by charismatic individuals or groups with their own agenda that doesn't work for us. You would think after all these years and all these different groups and all these different people we've been through as a community that we would recognize certain stuff like just automatic. It wouldn't, like, we won't go through the same things. But I think you have to be around long enough to realize how important it is, right? To understand our deen well and what that looks like, right? And what we was trying to convey yesterday, talking about Sunni Islam, talking about who is a Sunni, talking about Ahl-Sunnati wal Jama'ah, was to put us in a position where we can identify a method a method by which we can pass to future generations. I didn't call nobody out, Khadijah. Let me ask you something. If a Klansman was in the back of your house getting ready to burn a cross, would you want me to remain silent or say something? I know you, Khadijah. You know this is for you, not to you, right? Or at you. Seriously, if a Klansman was in the back of your yard getting ready to burn a cross, would you want me to remain silent? Right. Do you care who the Klansman is, or you just want to know it's a Klansman? Do you want me to know, hey, that's Tommy Snyder in the back of your house? Do you care if it's Tommy Snyder or Rich Wagner? Does it make a difference to you? You just know that's a Klansman in the back of your yard, right? Or do you know which Klansman it is? Which one? Which one is important to you? Right? You want to know that is a Klansman in the back of my yard getting ready to burn a cross. I don't care his name is. Because when you say it's a Klansman, you got the concept. Right? You got the concept. You know what that means. Doesn't matter what's his name. Doesn't matter if he's of the Southern clan, Eastern clan, Northern clan. He's the clan. That's all that matters, right? So that's what we're dealing with, the concept. And who cares about the individual, right? And that's my point. We can't worry about people. We're too wrapped up into people. Doesn't matter. If we get the concept, we'll never fall victim to people. Right? So this is important. Right? So that's really like the methodology of Ahl Sunnah. So when we say in Aqidah, Ashari or Maturidi, and in Fiqh, Hanafi, Maliki, Shafi, Hanbali, and the way of Tasawwuf, right? When we talk about that, we're talking about a methodology. Because if we were to name individuals, be far too many, because it's the majority of the Muslim nation. So that's talking about a methodology by which we understand our deen. And it's very comprehensive, right? And I want to see today, I thought she was talking about something else. No, actually, the person who got blocked, I like their style, right? But I like the energy. I respect the energy. I mean, what you're saying is something different, but I love the energy. I don't mind someone standing up for their beliefs, right? I don't mind someone standing up for their beliefs. I wish we would do the same thing. I wish enough of us were like that as Ahl Sunnah. But unfortunately, it's not enough of us like that in Ahl Sunnah. I don't mean go messing with people and interrupting their thing, but I mean like he's Wahhabi and he's holding the flag. I respect that. Whether I agree or not, it's another story. But the energy, I respect that. Nah, I'm not. I don't get offended about that. I don't mind healthy discussion, right? I don't mind. I love healthy dialogue. I don't mind exchanging ideas. I think it's beneficial. That way you don't become a parrot, right? If you can have a discussion, go back and forth, exchange different ideas, I think that's healthy. It's always been the nation of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. People exchange ideas and they go back and forth and they evaluate things and they flip things over, and that's the nature of it. And that's a good thing. I don't think that's bad, right? And you're going to learn a lot by that, right? Right? You'll learn a lot. But even though Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah is the majority of the Muslim nation, in our society, we are out-financed. I won't say we're outnumbered, but we're apparently outnumbered because we're not outnumbered. Just we're unlearned as a whole, so therefore it looks like we're outnumbered, right? Because the majority of the Muslim world are Sunni, and they have made up the majority of the Muslims in America. But unfortunately, common people, they didn't learn well. So when they're confronted with different ideas, they're not religious people, so to say. So they just go along with it, right? And it appears as though Ahl Sunnah is outnumbered. It's not the case. Right? But you got to teach them because they didn't learn. As Imam Naim mentioned, in the Islamic countries, that's the way they go. That's the family. That's what they've learned. That's what they see in the mosque. So they don't really learn a lot of religion, so they don't know, right? So you have to explain to them, like I'll give you an example. Every Jumu'ah, our masjid is majority people from different parts of the world, right? I would say in in Jumu'ah, in my community, if 20% is African American, we're lucky, right? If 20% of the attendees of Jumu'ah are African American, we're lucky. They're from all over the world, right? And predominantly Muslim countries. And I kid you not one of them, not one, because I talk to people, I be engaging, and I'm like forthright, so there's no way for me not to know. None of them understand Islamic creed properly. Well, not one. Just some general, there's no God but Allah and Muhammad is his messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Anything beyond that, really, especially Islamic belief about Allah, forget about it. So they've become, in a way, unconsciously, they're not Wahhabi. They know they're not Wahhabi, but they don't know what that means, right? They think I'm not Wahhabi because I do Mawlid. And they think that's the difference. Well, we do Mawlid and we make salat on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So that means we're not Wahhabi, right? Which is an aspect of not being Wahhabi, but that's not the reality. That's not even the biggest part of Wahhabi creed. Refuting Mawlid and, that's not it. The Wahhabis' real problem is their bad belief, right? So what you have is, when I be talking about Islamic creed and Aqidah, it's like I'm saying something strange. But they know it is in their culture. It's from their teachers, right? They have it. They know it. But they didn't learn religious belief well. So too many of them said, this is the first time I've ever heard that. I've never heard this stuff before. They've heard it, but they never paid attention to it. Because in their countries, they're Hanafi, Maturidi, Sufi, and that just is like drinking the tea in the morning, right? So it's not something that's highlighted, so they never paid attention. They just chase dunya, right? Go play soccer or do whatever you do. They never paid attention. But here, where the opposite exists, when you highlight those things, it becomes like, whoa, I never heard that, right? Like, I give you an example. Many people that come here who are new to Ahl-Sunnati wal Jama'ah have never heard that Allah exists without a place. It's a new concept to them. When this is the standard belief in Islam, to the point, it became at one point that if you say Allah exists without a place, they thought you was necessarily from a different group, from a certain group. Oh, that's their belief. No, that's the belief of Ahl-Sunnati wal Jama'ah. It doesn't belong to a specific group or organization. Ahl-Sunnati wal Jama'ah believe Allah mawjoodun bila makan. Let me give you the evidence of that. Remember yesterday, I put up this book, Al-Farqu Bayn al-Firaq. The author died in the year 429, right? And in this book, he mentioned, no glasses, and you act like you don't see everything. He put right here on page 292. He's talking about Ahl Sunnah. He said, وَأَجْمَعُوا عَلَى أَنَّهُ لَا يَهْوِهِ مَكَانٍ وَلَا يَجْرِي عَلَيْهِ زَمَانٍ. Right? He said they have consensus that Allah exists without a place. He's not contained in a place, rather. Right? And then he mentions two statements of Sayyidina Ali, who says, Kan Allahu wala makan. Right? Allah existed and there was no place. وَهُوَ الْآنَ عَلَى مَا عَلَيْهِ كَانَ. And he exists as he always existed. This was in the 5th century. It's not before any of us were even thought of in terms of parents, even our grandparents, centuries ago. And it's been from generation to generation to generation, scholars before, scholars after, Allah exists without a place. Right? Right? But now when we think about this, most people that we run across, they don't know that. They didn't learn. Right? And that's saying what we have to do. So for us, learning is one aspect of it, but also embodying what we learn is important, right? Right? So what I want from us and from myself is to master to the best of our ability the issues of the creed, right? And to stand firm on it and spread it and teach it. And everybody get on the battlefield, right? We're in a struggle of ideas, and everyone has to learn, right? Enough to convey. All of us have to learn enough to convey. And I'm telling you, when we do that, we're going to make a big difference. We're going to make a big difference. Stop selling yourself short, right? All of us need to have, you remember at the end of the Spike Lee movie, when they was going all around the place, the world, and the kids were standing up and everybody saying, I am Malcolm X, I am Malcolm X, I am Malcolm X. We need that spirit, right? We need that spirit where I am Ahl Sunnah, I am Ahl Sunnah. Everyone has that spirit. And then spread the belief of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah. We must have that spirit. I heard someone say, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Some of the stuff people say to black folks and black folks swallow it is like incredible, man. I'm going to say something harsh because It wasn't said this way, so I don't reveal what was said to me. But the meaning of what was said, it wasn't said in these words, but the meaning behind these words was this. Who that nigga think he is? An Arab said that to several Arabs said that to several black people about me. Who that nigga think he is? They didn't say those words. That's the meaning of what they said. I want you to put that in context. Remember I said forget personalities, forget words and titles and catchphrases, get meanings? What they were saying to those black folks is, who that nigga think he is? Think about that. That's some deep stuff. We in 2021 and someone got the guts to say that to us. The meaning of that. Like we stupid and we don't get it. Like think about that. And guess what? We'll buy that. And we'll say, yeah, who that nigga think he is? That's the funny part. Bad that they said it, worse that we'll repeat it. Like, yeah, who that nigga think he is? Subhanallah. But we're saying the same thing that they say in terms of the religious knowledge. I mean, this is some serious stuff when you think about it. And you'll have a bunch of black folk standing around knowing that's going on, and everybody's saying, man, you see what he said about him? Better be careful. Like, what's up with us, man? Are we serious? I mean, like, let me ask you a question. For all of us, that's why I said that at the end of that movie was deep. All of the kids got up. I am Malcolm X. I am Malcolm X. I am Malcolm X. Do you think when Malcolm X, Al-Hajj Malik Shabazz, rahimahullah, was at the height of doing his work, that he thought he was Malcolm X as we see him? That's the question. Do you think he realized what he would become? Right? At his time, you know what they were saying? Blacks, whites, and foreigners. Who that nigga think he is? That's what they were saying about Malcolm X. When he was talking, who that nigga think he is? The same spirit. You do realize that, right? They wasn't praising Malcolm X, right? And even as a Sunni, they ain't want them talking that black stuff. Oh, we all Muslims, don't, you know, that's, no. They wasn't celebrating him. And you want the biggest dalil that they wasn't celebrating him like that? And I was telling this, we was talking yesterday. I was telling this to Imam Naim and Imam Fahim. I mean, they already knew it, but we was talking about it. You know, what's the biggest sign that they really wasn't feeling Malcolm X? Even as a so-called Sunni, right? They wasn't feeling him at all. What's the biggest sign of that? Let's put on our thinking caps and see how much history we know. What's the biggest sign that they really wasn't feeling him? Answer my question. Help me out. Bingo. Byron, you on it. No financial assistance. Right? Imam Naim, if you can put on your page and make it shareable, that letter of Malcolm X to Tariq Ramadan's father. If you can put that up on your page and make it shareable, and I'll share it as well. If he was such a great person and they loved his message so much, with all the money they had, why they didn't give him none? They used him for their own comfort. And when they had no need of him, they disregarded him. He said that himself. He said, they promised me, but they never came through. He said that. And Imam Naim, you got that thing, Imam Naim? I don't know where you put it. You got to go in your archives. But that's some deep stuff. And guess what? We forgot that whole part. And guess what? They know no matter how loud you talk, no matter how right you are, if you're broke, you ain't going that far in this world. You're not. So if we don't support you, you're not going to do much. It's going to be very difficult. And I see the same thing today. Same thing. So now, though we have a Malcolm X Day, that's after the fact, when it means nothing, because you don't have any more Malcolm X. And then if any of us try to do anything similar, the same thing happens to them towards how they deal with them, right? You've heard me talk about the race issue. You've heard me talk about Ahl Sunnah. Forget me. Forget Amin Muhammad. Take me out, right? Will you deny the truthfulness of the points I make? Don't look at me. Forget me. Who put another person? I don't care who it is. Are those points legitimate? Are those points legitimate? The points that I raise, take me out of it. Forget me, not Amin Muhammad. Are the points legitimate? Do they stand? Do we have a race problem among Muslims that we need to fix? Are African Americans given an inferior Islamic discourse in general? Yes, that's real. Are our masjids being overtaken one by others and not serving our needs? Yes, that's true, right? Is money being taken out of our communities, sent to the suburbs or overseas, and never building and establishing our communities? Is that true? Is it true? Are masjids placed in our communities and not ran by us and others taking those resources and doing what they want for them, and our children in the same condition they was before that masjid was there? Is that an answer? Is that true? Do we have the same access to religious knowledge and education and economics and leadership as others in those institutions? Is there a disparity? Is that true? Forget who's saying it. Is it true? The answer is yes, right? So when you look at these things, right? When you look at these things, they need to be addressed. Doesn't matter who addresses them, they need to be addressed, right? They need to be addressed. And not only addressed, they need to change. Is it true that African American Muslims need to learn to do for themselves? Is that true? That's not false, is it? Don't we need to do for ourselves? Is it obvious that if we don't do for ourselves, our condition is going to be the same? Are more of our children going to prison than the university? This is true. Are we losing our own children from the masjid because it doesn't relate to them at all? This is true. So when we look at these things, we have to do something about it. And that's the reality. Now, who says it don't make a difference? That's the truth. That's something we all notice. We have to do something about that. That's our job. And we can't blame no one else. So for us, whoever speaks up on our behalf, we need to support. Whoever speaks up on our behalf, we need to support. And even if we're not financially supporting, we should be supporting by spreading that message that needs to get across, right? And doing our part in it. May Allah reward you, Sister Camila, and may Allah make them successful, right? And we need to send more of our kids off to college. Better yet, we need to build our own university. While we're doing that, we need to train our kids to learn and come back and build, right? So, inshallah ta'ala, that is my scattered thoughts for today. And this ain't a despair moment. It's just to motivate us. Listen, man, this is real. Let's get busy. Right? Right? Let's just get busy. It's not a complaint party. It's bringing out something so we can realize that we have stuff to do. Stop giving people generations of our energy that don't serve us. Let's use it for ourselves to build. And you'll be respected once we do that. But we need a mass movement of that. And it starts one by one. You know, mountains are made up of little particles of sand, right? That's how you get a mountain, right? And I'm watching it. I'm watching it. I'm watching month by month, right? Month by month, I'm watching it grow. All around the country. All around the country, I'm watching. It's growing and growing and growing and growing through these platforms. But I want everyone to focus on this, and I'll close with this. It's not about us. Can we put that up? It's not about us. In reality, it's about future generations. It's not about us. And when we get that point, we'll work harder. It's about future generations. It's not about us. We have to leave a legacy for our future generations. That means we got to sacrifice. When you realize it's not about us, that means we have to sacrifice. This is important. Sometimes I think about stuff and I want to cry, just personally, right? And I get angry. I get hot, seriously, thinking about it. I know Black people from almost 70 years old to kids, to babies that are in the same condition. In Islam, up to 70, down to babies, school, still being treated like niggas. Do you see that gap? From 70 all the way down to, elementary school level kids still being treated like niggas as Muslim. I think about that stuff, I get furious. Think about that. From almost 70 down to elementary school, still treated like niggas. And they're Muslim with the correct belief, Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, and we ain't pissed off. Think about that. So you're talking about 2, almost 3 generations of servitude. Think about that. 2 to 3 generations of servitude. Just let that sit in your mind. And if we continue, it'll go 4 or 5 or 6 generations if it's up to the others. If we don't make a change. That's something to think about. And you would think a Muslim would say, yeah, this ain't right. We got to make a change. No, absolutely not. Right. We have work to do, man. Seriously. Like I said, I was going to stop, but just when I think about this stuff, because I look at my own children, I got little baby, right? And I be like, nah, you can forget about it, right? Over my dead body, it ain't happening. No, I honestly think like that. I look at my little son, and I be like, nope, you can forget about it. No, right? No, and all of us should say that, not mine's. You remember that movie? I don't know. I'm getting ready to do a Imam Boom Bop joint. I forget the white lady's name. She was a famous actor back in the day. She had a movie, Not Without My Daughter or something like that. Not Without My Child. Y'all remember that movie? What was the name of that movie, Imam Naeem? Sally Fields. Yeah, remember that movie? That's how we should be with our children, not ours. No, I mean, the thought I'm talking about. I don't remember the whole movie, right? Yeah. Akidan, I don't know what you selling or what you working on, but I would appreciate it before you do that, run it through us because you're on our platform and people may want to. Let me say this again. So maybe you didn't get it or others, right? If somebody invites you off this platform to do something, if I didn't tell you to do it, I have nothing to do with it. I know nothing about it. I don't know the person. And I don't want you to come back later and say to me, hey, someone swindled me. So just in general, let us go through it. And if it's a good idea, we'll share it, right? Just so that's just to keep everyone safe, not accusing anyone of anything. It's just, we've seen this. A lot of people come on the platform, they have their own agenda. They act like they're in what we're doing. Then they get people outside the platform and they put stuff that we have nothing to do with. And then they come back and say, oh, so-and-so, listen. So I'm not saying you specifically. I'm just making that a general. So in the general, we're on Facebook. All you have to do is send it to me, right? We'll look at it. If it's something that's beneficial, we'll share it. I'm into helping people grow. We don't do everything. Some people, good business people, some people got connections for that. I believe we should all be linked. But for safety, we should check before we recommend, right? Yeah, there you go. Just send any information right here, right? And we'll share it. If it's something beneficial, we'll check it out. We'll look at it. I'm not saying I personally will look at it, but you got myself, you got Imam Naeem, you got Imam Fahim, we got other people. They'll check it. They'll look at it. They'll evaluate, and they'll be honest with you. We're not like flaky people. If it's good, we'll say that's a good idea, and we should share it with everybody. If it's flaky, we're gonna say, yo, that's flaky, man. We ain't doing that, right? So that's just for everyone's safety. And that's the same thing I tell them for marriage. I got people getting hooked up. They come in here, they online, then they in somebody's inbox, come marry me, and they get married. Then the sister will come back crying later. Oh, he was a fraud. Why you didn't listen? We told you don't do that. But you did it anyway. So I have to mention that because I see it in the chat box. But no problem. But I'm just reminding you. And I mean, reminding everyone, try not to do that. Save yourselves. All right, inshallah, barakallahu bikum. May Allah reward you. I'll see you in post-Fajr reflections. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.